In June of 2015, me and my dad were on our way home from Club Volleyball Nationals in Florida. It was an unusually bumpy plane ride back home to Milwaukee. I woke up to the sound of a plane landing. I began to reach for my iPhone, but it was no longer sitting on my lap where I left it. I began to frantically look for it all around my seat. My dad asked the boys and the mom sitting behind me if they'd seen a phone, and they said no. I then tried the Find My iPhone app to locate my phone, but my iPhone appeared to be offline because it was on airplane mode. I had a horrible feeling in my chest and I could not stop crying. We were the last two people to get off the plane.
My name is Keith Dunton. I am Cara's dad. The volleyball national trip was a great trip to Florida. Unfortunately, it had a rather depressing ending because we exited the plane after searching it thoroughly without our phone, and I had a very upset and tearful daughter by my side. When we got to baggage claim, I did ask the airline if they would kindly make an announcement regarding a lost phone, which they did. Unfortunately, nothing came of that. So we gathered our belongings and began the drive home, which was long and very depressing. When we got home, I sought out my son Ryan, who is a bit of a computer geek, to help us, and using the website Find My iPhone, we used the home computer to try to locate that phone. Nothing came up, and we did go to bed again without finding anything, but we left that home computer on. I remember waking up the next morning very early and walking into the room where that home computer is and seeing a flashing red light coming from the computer. And that piqued my interest. Immediately, I went and woke up my son and daughter, and sure enough, that flashing red light was telling us that the phone was found. And again, using that app, we were able to locate the phone in a small town in northern Illinois called Antioch, just south of the border of Wisconsin. We were able to pinpoint the neighborhood, the specific house where the phone was located, and then we began making our plans. My goal was to drive to the house and attempt to retrieve the phone without getting the police involved. In other words, hopefully finding cooperative people who were willing to give the phone back to us. With that in mind, we began the 2-hour drive, and it was Father's Day, to Antioch, Illinois. When we got there, I knocked on the door and a woman answered, and immediately I recognized her as the woman who sat behind me on the plane. Bingo. I knew we were onto something. She was very friendly. She also recognized me. She invited me in, and in a very friendly way, I said to her, "My daughter lost her phone on the plane, and on this app called Find My iPhone, we discovered that the phone is actually right here in your house. And we think what happened is that the phone somehow slid into your luggage and unknown to you, and it's here." And I showed her the app, and she said, "Oh my gosh." She then proceeded to call her 2 teenage sons downstairs, reintroduced me to them, and explained the situation to them. Again, I knew we were onto something because the boys looked extremely guilty and they had the look basically of horror on their face. So on her urging, she asked them to look through their luggage, which they did, or at least pretended to do, with the 3 of us standing there, Ryan, myself, and Cara. And after about an hour of this, and producing nothing, I asked her if I could speak with her boys directly, which she agreed to. At that point, she knew something was up. So I said, "Boys, the phone is here. We know the phone is here. We don't want to call the police. If you would, just find the phone, give it to us, and we'll leave." And that will be the end of it. But they, again, professed their innocence. They said they had no idea about the phone. And at that point in time, the mother looked at me and said, "If you need to call the police, please go ahead and call them." And I did. Just as the police officer drove into their driveway, one of the boys sang out that he had found the phone. Unbelievable. But the story doesn't end there, because we're standing on the front lawn when my daughter discovered that the SIM card was missing from the phone, which again reduced her to tears. And upon seeing that, the police officer turned to the 2 boys and said, "Produce the SIM card or I'm taking you in." And one of the boys ran the house and came running back with the SIM card. After apologies, we left. We did know the mother was very upset. We did hear screaming and so forth coming from the house. I think she was embarrassed and very upset with her sons. We drove home again on Father's Day, happy that we had the phone back, and with a story that we will never forget.